jury announced its determination July 2nd. Combs, who pleaded not guilty to all charges, was convicted of prostitution-related offenses, but acquitted of the sex trafficking and racketeering charges in his case. After his verdict was announced, stars who have been connected to Combs over the years spoke out on social media, with fellow rapper 50.
When the news erupted over all feeds, the courtroom had just begun to empty. The response was immediate after the verdict was rendered. Hollywood was rocked by a recent ruling that Diddy, the once untouchable king of the business, had.
Following the split verdict, Combs' longtime nemesis, 50 Cent, reacted to the news on Instagram, writing, quote, "Diddy beat the feds, that boy a bad man. Eat the Rico, he, the gay John Gotti," he said in reference to the mob boss who was acquitted on racketeering charges. Aubrey O'Day, who has long been outspoken about her experience working with the rap mogul during her time in the 2000s girl group Danity Kane, also reacted to the news.
Oh, this makes me physically ill.
Lobby.
Sure.
And, the prosecution strategy with showing that video, or with knowing that video was going to be shown to the jury, was domestic abuse.
Wolf is silent.
Said, look, domestic abuse happened, but
Wolf is silent.
Right.
There was no racketeering, and it seems like the jury.
If we're talking about count 2 here, the forcible sex trafficking of Cassie Ventura, that means the jury has concluded there was
Cassie
force
probably feels
or
so
fraud
horrible.
or coercion involved in that. It could still be that the jury finds,
Ronnie.
yes, a person
I'm gonna
was
vomit.
moved across state lines for the purpose of prostitution.
Yes.
That's count 3,
Okay, I'm
which
getting
may be
some
the
other
other
news.
word.
Oh, please.
Meanwhile, the rapper's family was all smiles as they were photographed leaving the courtroom. Combs, who pleaded not guilty to all charges, now faces a sentence of up to 20 years, up to 10 years in prison per count, according to NBC News. The outlet added prosecutors would seek the, quote, maximum of 20 years in total. Had the rapper been convicted of the more serious charges, he could have faced life in prison.
Additionally, 50 Cent responded quickly. He didn't hold off. He posted a direct, scathing message to his millions of followers without pausing or filtering it. "I warned you it was coming. There's a limit to how long you can conceal." The internet was set on fire by that one statement alone. However, 50 wasn't finished. You could see it in his eyes in the ensuing video. He wasn't boasting. He was enraged. It's not about retaliation. It has to do with reality. You all witnessed the trial and heard the same testimony that I did. In all of this, do you truly believe that man is innocent? And 50 Cent dominated public opinion while rumors swirled in courtroom. Every word was calculated, post after post, clip after clip, director unrelenting. He reminded everyone that the indications had always been there and that this was nothing new.
Also accused Diddy of orchestrating the murder of death row rapper Tupac Shakur, who died in 1996 in a Las Vegas drive-by shooting. This is Dwayne Keith D. Davis. He was arrested in September 2023, and he is the only person facing charges related to Tupac's murder. But 50 Cent has continued to push the allegation that Sean Combs either knows something or did something for Tupac to end up dead, though Diddy has denied that. But in a 2023 Instagram post, 50 wrote, "Damn, so Pac got lined by brother love, LOL, time to lawyer up, expletive, might get sticky," with a pic of Suge Knight in a car with Tupac. Diddy, who has a lot of names, Puff Daddy, Puffy, Puff, and Brother Love is one of those other names. Now, from Diddy's side of things, again, he's denied having anything to do with Tupac's murder, and he's also denied having anything to do with Christopher Wallace's death, and he's denied publicly having issues with 50 Cent. Here's what Combs said when he was asked about a beef with 50 in a 2018 interview with the radio show The Breakfast Club, Power 105.1 FM.
Hey, yo, I don't have no beef with
I don't know why.
with Fifth. He loves me. He loves me.
Y'all really
can't
have a
see it?
beef?
I mean, y'all can't see it.
No, we can't see
Y'all
it,
can't
man.
see that he loves me?
But see,
You really, hold on, you really think that's hate?
If you look at 50's social media, you can see he has a lot of posts about Diddy. And this is what he posted the day that federal agents in Miami raided Combs' mansion ahead of his arrest on the charges that he's now on trial for. 50 Cent posted on X, "Now it's not Diddy do it, it's Diddy done. They don't come like that unless they got a case." 50 Cent also included a link to his G-Unit clothing brand in that post. While Diddy in the Breakfast Club clip said that 50 Cent actually loves him and there was never a beef, on the stand this week, Capricorn Clark said otherwise. Clark said that she was at this press event at MTV with Diddy and 50 Cent was also there, all of this happening in New York. Clark said, quote, "After the interview wrapped up, myself, Puff, and Chris Lighty got in the elevator." Clark said that Lighty was an entertainment manager who, on paper, was managing Diddy at the time, but was also 50 Cent's manager at the time. Prosecutors asked Clark what happened in the elevator, and she said, quote, "Puff told Chris, because they were having some sort of issue, like, I really don't like all the back and forth. I don't do that. I like guns." The prosecutor then asked, "What's the issue with an individual?" And Clark responded, he had an issue with 50 Cent. She said Combs was very serious when he said that. In this case, it has become common to hear testimony from witnesses about alleged threats by Diddy. In fact, several witnesses have said that Diddy regularly threatened to fire people, to beat people, like his former girlfriend Cassie Ventura, and in this case, making a threat involving firearms to settle a dispute, per the testimony of someone who was one of his closest associates for more than a decade. Invoking gun violence and some sort of veiled threat, that could be scary for some, but apparently not 50 Cent. On Instagram, 50 posted right after his name came up in the courtroom, quote, cut, wait a minute. Puffy's got a gun? I can't believe this. I don't feel safe, with a picture that looked like an AI image of 50 Cent on a movie set looking serious. And he wasn't done. Shortly after that, he posted another AI image on Instagram of him in a Yankees hat with a very scared look on his face with the caption, "Oh my goodness, itty bitty Diddy wants me dead. I have to lay low." Sad face emoji. "I think I'm gonna hide out at the playoff game tonight, LOL. Then the next day he posted what he did that night. He went to the NBA playoff game between the New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers in Indiana. And you can see him here in a picture on the floor in a shirt that reads, quote, "Free Diddy," playing into the trolling that 50 Cent has done to Sean Combs over the years, even before Combs was ever accused of what he is on trial for. Now, Combs' trial is expected to last another month at least. He's charged with racketeering, sex trafficking by force, and transportation to engage in prostitution. He has pleaded not guilty. Join us now to talk more about the trial of Sean Diddy Combs and everything that's going on inside the courtroom. Zafie Patterson, civil and criminal defense attorney. Thanks for taking the time to be with us. We're focusing on what was a minor moment in the grand scheme of everything we heard in the trial this week, but there's this anecdote that Capricorn Clark told about what...
I made that statement in 2009. In 2014, I reiterated. You guys claimed I was just beefing every time I spoke about it. I was warning, not warning. He dug up earlier blogs, articles, interviews, and receipts. He wasn't only speaking. He was proving himself, dispelling any doubt. Although the courtroom was taken aback by the ruling, 50 people were not. He anticipated it. Diddy was collapsing in the courtroom. He was characterized by witnesses as being anxious, red-faced, and obviously shaken. He allegedly attempted to interrupt the judge at one point, but was silenced. The temperature outside was rising by 50 degrees. You guys made him into a legend. Behind the scenes, individuals were hurting. Children, women, and artists. He didn't mince words. And the response was enormous. The comments were inundated by fans. Insiders, skeptics, and supporters all had something to say. However, because the evidence was indisputable, the majority of them stood with 50. The stories that had previously been ignored were now prominent.
Real Diddy party looks like. The video showed a number of famous faces, including Jay-Z and Beyonce, Kim Kardashian, her then husband Kanye West, Naomi Campbell, and several others who were all together to celebrate Diddy's 50th birthday in 2019. Fast forward to 2024, 50 was asked why there have been so many silent voices when it comes to celebs speaking out about Diddy, as if they're afraid to speak up. 50 replied in part, "Some of them were involved at the parties and enjoyed themselves, so they don't know what the F is on the tape or what's not on the tape. So they're not going to say anything because they might have had too much fun." And then you got other people who look at it and go, "Well, that's not my business and I don't want to be in it." Then you got a part of our culture that says that's snitching or dry snitching. It's uncomfortable for me to say what I said because I've been saying this stuff for 4 or 5 years. Everybody else is not going to be as comfortable as I'm saying it. 50 Cent then alleged there's one famous friend that is aware of Diddy's alleged disturbing behavior. R&B legend Mary J. Blige, who got her start at Diddy's Bad Boy Records, has been a longtime friend of the embattled rapper and producer, but she reportedly has a great relationship with 50 Cent as well. When asked if Mary J. Blige reached out to 50, he responded, no, you know what? Mary never reached out to tell me not to F up Puffy because she knows he does that stuff." As Diddy and 50 Cent have long been in the rap game, they share another commonality, and that's 50 Cent's ex-girlfriend and the mother of his youngest son, Daphne Joy Navarez. The actress and OnlyFans model was named in Rodney Jones' suit against Diddy as she was referenced to as an alleged sex worker of Diddy's that also gets paid a monthly stipend. She has denied those allegations in a post made to social media, writing, "I am deeply hurt by the lies in Rodney Jones' lawsuit. The claim that I'm a sex worker is 100% false and character assassination. I am retaining an attorney to explore all legal remedies against both Rodney and his attorney." 50 Cent seemingly poked fun at the allegation of the mother of his son being an alleged sex worker. In a post made to his social media page, 50 wrote a caption, "I didn't know you was a sex worker, you little sex worker, LOL." But this would prompt Daphne Joy to respond to her ex again on social media, but this time would accuse 50 directly of rape and being abusive during their relationship. She would write in part, "Everything is a joke to you until our safety is compromised, which is happening now. You are wreaking real havoc, frenzy, and chaos onto people's lives. How would you feel if Sire was the one in handcuffs? For nothing. Let's put the real focus on your true evil actions of raping me and physically abusing me. You are no longer my oppressor, and my God will handle you from this point on. You have permanently damaged the last hope I had for you as a father to preserve our family with these last and final false claims made against me. You have broken our hearts for the last and final time." Those allegations against 50 Cent would prompt him to fire back against his ex Daphne Joy and sue her for defamation. In his suit, 50 Cent said those allegations were unequivocally false and would claim she made the shocking allegations in retaliation after he moved to take sole custody of their son. Since that suit, Daphne has deleted her Instagram post accusing 50 of rape and physical abuse. 50 Cent was asked by The Hollywood Reporter the latest in the defamation suit. The rapper and television producer said he tiptoes around the Daphne stuff and explained why. He said, "I got a family court."
50 also ensured that nobody could turn away. He criticized other famous people. Where are the statements located? Where's the responsibility? You were aware of what was happening. You went out with him. You saw it everything. He even made a suggestion that there would be more, a larger plunge, a more thorough examination of what had been taking place behind closed doors. Do you guys think this decision ends it? No. The following chapter begins with this, as well as the sector. It trembled. Abruptly, old Diddy interviews came back to life. All of it is now being examined, including old videos and mysterious quotes. Because it's impossible to fade into obscurity once 50 Cent puts you in the spotlight. Legal experts, however, dissected the ruling, attempting to clarify how someone might be found guilty of certain counts and yet be held accountable. The verdict, however, was not the end for 50. The exposure was the cause. The verdict isn't necessarily the truth. Occasionally, it's in the quiet that ensues. And I'm not going to be quiet. He even hinted at a documentary that would be shocking since it would include witness statements, leaked audio, and a thorough deconstruction. "We're just getting started," he added, grinning icily. 50 became the voice of the voiceless, while Diddy stayed hidden behind attorneys and legalese. Each post presented a challenge. Each video was a challenge. Tell me I'm mistaken. I'm lying, tell me. I was given names. I got faces. I have facts. And he was believed by the populace. Because what everyone had been reluctant to admit was finally being said after years of whispering. Even if the decision was controversial, the consequences were obvious. Diddy's reputation crumbled. The voice of 50 Cent is louder than ever. And one thing was certain as the industry struggled to get traction. This was not the end of it. By no means. 50 wasn't going to back down. He had only just warmed up. 50 didn't slow down in the days that followed. He went harder, If anything, each post turned into ammunition. At first, he began naming people in a subtle way. He's aware of what he saw. That night,
Interview, a clip from The Breakfast Club that was 2018, and Diddy was on the show, and they asked about the issues that he had with 50 Cent. He said, "There's no issues. I love him. He loves me." He was kind of joking about it. And then you hear these stories that come out, whether it's this one specifically about 50 Cent or just in general, the picture that's being painted by the government in this trial. For you, has kind of the image of Sean Combs and who you thought he was, has it changed during the course of what we've seen over the last couple of weeks?
Certainly over the course of what we've seen, but I think I've seen an interview where 50 said, if you want to go nowhere, go to Diddy. If you're ready for your career to die, go to Diddy. It's long been rumored that Diddy didn't necessarily treat his artists properly, and if you look through his roster of artists, you'll see a lot of individuals whose careers probably started off really, really well, but they ended up with no money. That's long been the rumor. There've been rumors of abuse by Diddy toward Cassie and toward Kim and some other women as well. Even when he was at, I think Uptown is where he originally started. So there have always been rumors, but nothing really solidified, verified like we've had in this trial. It's been awful. I think it would be awful for anyone. I don't think his reputation is in the business world certainly will never recover. And even if he's found not guilty, his name is mud. I don't think that it's recoverable. I think everybody is extremely shocked, especially just some of the sexually explicit things. We have a huge morality issue in America. So anything that's like a little deviant is just not going to be really good for you. So I think everybody's a little shocked. I'm a little shocked and appalled and horrified. I think a lot of people are. But, this is not what we knew. We knew some things weren't right, but we didn't know just how wrong they were.
And I feel like we just knew because, we all grew up, whether it was, some of the roles he had in movies, and he was everywhere, and then his brands were everywhere. And it's like Making the Band was such like a hit show on MTV back in the day. And there's that famous scene where he has all the contestants walk to Brooklyn to go get, I think it was Junior's cheesecake. And he's yelling at people. And then it seemed like everyone around him in any documentary that he did, it was like, oh, that's just Puff because he's always just so angry. And then it's just this whole other level in the trial where it just, as an attorney, how effective has the government been, as you just read, and we can only read transcripts really and kind of hear from the people we have in the courtroom, but just at this point, how effective has the government been in painting the picture of this isn't just someone who was a domestic abuser, this isn't someone who was just a mean boss, but this was a racketeer who was running a criminal enterprise.
Yeah, and I think the forced labor issue. I think they've done an excellent job with that. With the transcripts I've been reading, a lot of the people are saying that they worked for 20 hours. Like that's the magic number, 20 hours straight. They, on a good day, we heard you'll get 4 hours of sleep. On a bad day, you'll get 4 hours of sleep. I think one of the what is it? A bodyguard said, if you sleep, you're getting fired. Like it was more rhythmic than that. I don't know, but you couldn't sleep around him. And I think that's what we saw with Making the Band. But again, we really didn't believe it. We thought it was for entertainment purposes. We didn't think someone could really act like this. And if an employee gave any pushback, they would either be terminated or they'd be threatened with.
Call out to that Nature for supporters to dig, and they dug. Reddit threads, Instagram lives, old interviews, and photographic proof. It all began to make connections between things that the general public had long disregarded. Diddy's squad, meanwhile, made every effort. Press releases, damage management, and legal threats didn't matter. 50 continued to push and post, and then he stopped. It was a grainy, never-before-seen video with no explicit content, but the mood was indisputable. A hotel, a party, and well-known faces in the distance. Diddy's voice was recognizable, slurring, giggling, and narrating in the 1950s. What did you all defend? Who are you all protecting? It was like a bomb. Immediately, the video went viral. Even Diddy's most devoted fans fell silent. The visible evidence was now catching up to the rumors, so those who were still hopeful had nothing to say. 50 wrote the simple caption, "More coming." Then he uploaded a picture of himself with a confidential folder in it. You lawyers at best put in extra hours. Mainstream media were unable to ignore it at this point. 50's posts, like breaking news, are covered by CNN, TMZ, and Rolling Stone. Analysts argued about whether it was to blame and whether it may have an impact on upcoming court cases. But since this was personal to 50, he was unfazed by it. Do you think I forget how many people he silenced and how many careers he attempted to ruin? Do you suppose I've forgotten his gait? He was being explicit. Clicks weren't the point here. The goal was to expose a decay that had been left unchecked for many years. He went live once more. This time, there's an unexpected visitor. A former Diddy label producer. Not much was revealed by the man. He recounted power struggles, intimidation, broken promises, and contracts signed under pressure, but he did not name any specific people. 50 turned to the camera after nodding through it. There's a pattern. Everything. The hashtag number symbol Diddy, revealed, was used by people. It was popular for days. More insiders started talking to the media under pseudonyms. The facade's fissures grew into enormous holes. And Diddy didn't say anything at all. Just statements from attorneys that became colder every day. No posts, no interviews. 50 wasn't finished. He shared a snippet of an old interview in which Diddy publicly made fun of 50. The phrase tables turn. The merchandise, t-shirts, and hoodies that were all branded with "I told y'all" and validated by 50 people then arrived. In a matter of hours, it sold out. A quarrel was no longer the focus of the movement. It was a reckoning, now cultural. 50 did not simply call out a single man. He summoned a whole system, one that failed to stop mistreatment, coercion, and silence. And the populace was paying attention. In one video, 50 stated, "Now, ING, I'll explain why, since nobody else will." By the end of the week, it was evident this was not a solo endeavor. It was a discovery of a secret-based empire. Additionally, 50 was leading the effort out front while Diddy frantically worked behind the scenes. With receipts, not with gossip. The answer was 50's reaction, even though the verdict may have raised some issues, and he had